Red on Logbook here for Wistoria chapter 47, and we start off where we left off with Will and Liana freaking out on this giant monster that just appeared out of nowhere. So we skip back 10 minutes to get an explanation of what's going on, and apparently the Thunder faction is going to go on an expedition in the dungeon. Sort of. They call it a dungeon expedition, but it's going to happen in the tower. Instead of fighting monsters in the dungeon, they'll be fighting guardians in the tower, and the reason for that is that's how you are able to advance up the tower. Apparently, the first 7 floors are basically just the area that normal factions live. Above that, all the way up to floor 50, which is the top floor, there are different trials you have to go through where you literally fight guardians. You have to beat that guardian to go to the next floor, and you keep beating them until eventually you get to have a chance to take on one of the Majawanda to become a new Majawanda. So Will and Liana start asking questions, obviously, about what's going on, and they are explained that these guards were actually created by the founding witch herself. And this is kind of like a trial that she created for the purposes of creating stronger and stronger mages. And so Liana and Will continue to ask questions, trying to get as much information on what's happening as possible. Eventually, Liana then asks, okay, well, how does Master Zero get from the top of the tower where the Majawanda are down here? And explain that they just basically have like a teleporter that allows them to just go up and down whenever they feel like it. But it's only allowed to be used by the Majawanda and their personal assistants, like Sarissa. Members of the Thunder faction begin to get a little annoyed by all these questions, and then start to ask Will and Liana why they're digging. And obviously, these people could be traitors. None of them smell like flowers, so they're not puppets, but that doesn't change the fact that they could be willingly working with Gothica, which means if they keep prying, they're going to make themselves even more suspicious to whoever they're investigating. And that's when we have a second flashback, so it's a flashback within a flashback. Now, obviously, Liana, being part of a noble family, already knew about the trials of the tower, and so that you have to go through all the guardians to get to the Majawanda all the way at the top of the tower. And so, if Gothica really was planning on killing the Majawanda, then sending in those monsters would have been completely pointless. In fact, sending in these puppeteers would also be completely pointless, because there's no way they're going to be able to force their way all the way to the top of the tower. And even if they somehow did do that, after all the fighting they did, they'd be exhausted, and there's no way they could ever beat a Majawanda. But Liana points out what the puppeteer said before, which is that her plan is to destroy the tower, not the Majawanda. So whatever she's doing, they have a different objective than just killing the Majawanda. They're not trying to destroy the false sky, they're trying to destroy the tower itself. And so figuring out the reason why they want to destroy the tower and how they're going to destroy the tower might actually lead to figuring out who the traitors are. That's when we finally pop back to the present, and the entirety of the Thunder faction attacks the giant flying dragon. We don't actually get to see the fight, but it doesn't really matter because the Thunder faction has been trying to climb the tower for a while now, and so there's no point in us watching them fail again, so we just skip over to Will and Zero fighting. Which is truly unfortunate for Will that he still has to do this after he's done training, is have a sparring match with Zero. Zero is, of course, getting really pissed off because Will isn't paying attention, because Will's mind is somewhere else. He's obviously thinking of 2 major things. 1, figuring out who the traitor is, and 2, he's noticed there's been a pair of eyes on him this entire time. But whoever this is, there are masters at concealing themselves because neither other people's sensory magic nor Kiki has been able to locate this guy. Only Will has noticed it. And whoever this guy is, apparently he's scared of Zero, because whenever Will is sparring with him, he just disappears. Those eyes are no longer watching him. While he's thinking, Zero then just grabs Will's face and starts yelling at him, saying that you shouldn't be thinking of anything else but me right now. This is our fight. You should be focusing on this. We also learn why Zero likes Will. He apparently thinks that they're the same. He calls Will a taker, which means Will just takes whatever he wants. He takes other people's magic, he takes their skills, he takes whatever he feels like. And he tells Will he has to stop overthinking things. All he has to do is just keep taking everything that he can, and anything he can't take, destroy it. Proving to Will 2 things. 1, this guy is a battle maniac who only cares about fighting, but also, he's extremely straightforward, and there is no way in hell he's a traitor. And he's too greedy and selfish and loud to be a traitor. And so Will decides to trust him with the information that he's a spy looking into finding the traitors. Yeah, so Zero's surprised. Apparently, even the Majawanda weren't informed about this, so the King Aaron is just doing everything behind everyone's back. But Zero begins to put some pieces together and says, okay, I might have some information to help you with your little mission that you're doing. And Will's like, oh, that's great. Can you tell me? He's like, no. If you want this information, you gotta fight me. But I'll be nice. You don't have to beat me. You just gotta land a single blow. If you do that, I'll tell you the information you need to know. Will is actually quite grateful for this, because this is the exact same thing that happened to him last time when he took on an impossible opponent. this being Professor Edward, and he begins to become more grateful towards Professor Edward for putting him through the trial that he did, which is funny because Will considers the exact same thing, that Edward doing what he did to Will was actually a good thing. Anyway, Will activates Lyanna's lightning sword, and the two clash, and they're just causing all kinds of destruction. Will quickly learns why Zero is such a formidable fighter. The man fights like a wild animal. Apparently, he never used the same attack twice. Everything is random, everything is set up in a way that it doesn't make sense, and so Will can't just scan it and then learn it and then be able to avoid it. Because every attack is a new attack, it's just something he's just going to have to deal with at that very moment, never being able to adapt or evolve. If he's going to even hit Zero once, he's going to have to actually get stronger himself. And that is when we see Finn sitting on the sidelines watching the fight. He's like, good, I like this. Apparently, this sparring with Zero is perfect because apparently it reaches all the necessary guidelines for Will to achieve a power that Finn calls Prime Phobos. I don't know what that means. I do know that Phobos is a Greek god of fear, literally fear itself. So I'm going to assume it has something to do with Will having to be afraid. But whatever it is, it's the next step in Will's development as a sword, and not just that, but his connection to the Witch Queen that is currently living inside of him. And let's be honest, that's all Finn cares about. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, give a thumbs up so you enjoy more Wistoria and other many things. Thank you and have a great day.